In this video, there will be answers to these common questions from MUET candidates. For a start, the reading test has 40 questions distributed into 7 parts, and it also has 10 different texts with varying length for different test parts. In each part, we'll test different reading skills, starting with the easier ones in part 1, and they get harder towards the end of the paper. In part 1, you'll see 4 multiple matching questions, and below that you'll have 3 short texts with the same theme and type with about 100 to 150 words in total length. The 3 texts could either be advertisements like flyers or brochures, announcements, notices, short official documents, signs, labels, directories, prospectuses, menus, or timetables. For each part 2 and part 3, there will be 1 text followed by 5 multiple choice questions. The length of each text will be about 300 to 450 words. The type of texts used in these parts are straightforward factual texts, such as short stories, light magazines or newspaper, articles, blogs, biographies, emails, informal letters, and formal letters. In part 4, there will be 2 related texts, followed by 6 MCQs. Questions 15 and 16 refer to the first text. Questions 17 and 18 refer to the second text, while questions 19 and 20 refer to both texts. Both of them will amount to 700 to 800 in total. The text will be long and complex ones, such as specialist magazine articles, reviews, feature articles, formal letters, research bulletins, and discussion forums. In part 5, there will be 1 long text in which 6 sentences have been removed. Then there will be a list of 7 sentences or options A to G for you to fill those gaps. There's 1 sentence which is not needed. The text is in 500 to 600 words long. It will be a long and complex one, such as specialist magazine articles, reviews, feature articles, and research bulletins. In each part 6 and 7, there will be 1 long text about 700 to 900 words long. Each text will be followed by 7 MCQs. The text could be specialist magazine articles, textbooks, reviews, reports, journal articles, research bulletins, professional publications, and literature. This is a written test. In the hall, there will be a booklet containing test questions on your assigned desk. And there'll also be an answer sheet, an OMR sheet, I assume, where you'll put your answers in. The test will run for 75 minutes. And for this test, bring your IC, pen, 2B pencils, and your exam slip or MUET D. The main purpose of a reading test is to assess your ability to understand different kinds of reading text. Topics used in the reading text will revolve around academic and educational areas, whether you are familiar with them or not. They could include people and culture, health and environment, science and technology, education, and financial awareness and consumerism. The types of articles used in the test are mentioned earlier in this video. Second, the reading texts will come from different backgrounds or cultures. Culture here means lifestyles or standard practices or procedures in various scenarios in our life. It also means knowing how things work around us. For example, we're talking about health. You're expected to know about the importance of seeing the doctor when you're sick, or knowing how the hospital is run or how the health system works generally. So these knowledge should help you understand the writer's meanings, and this doesn't mean that you can use your own opinion to answer these questions. So answer according to the writer's views or opinions. First, you'll be tested for language. It includes lexical knowledge, meaning you should recognize the word when you see it. And if you don't understand its meaning, you should be able to find its meaning from the other parts of the sentence or text. Syntax, meaning that you should be able to understand writer's meaning by looking and analyzing how the writer arranges his words and sentences or paragraphs. And then your knowledge on grammar. Sociolinguistics is the language that we use in different social settings. It means you should recognize how situational factors affect the writer's language. Pragmatism, or the functional use of the language, which means you should be alert to the flow of the text and to understand the writer's different writing styles. Testing your language also means testing your cognitive abilities or thinking abilities. In order to read effectively, your brain needs to do a lot of work, especially when reading some texts which are complex or when the writer writes indirectly. We have to decode or analyze the writer's language at many levels. At the word or phrase level, we might need to do a vocabulary search, which means understanding a word or the meaning of a phrase by reading other details in the text. For example, a writer wants to introduce a maybe new sport called underwater hockey. You would understand what that term means after reading the other parts of the text. After that, we need to analyze the writer's sentence in order to understand the writer's meaning. For example, we look at different parts within a sentence to know whether it's about a cause and effect relationship or not. And then we need to analyze the flow of the text or discourse by reading to what the writer has said so far along the text. For example, we could check if the writer is making comparisons by referring to other parts or paragraphs in the text, and therefore you could find the overall conclusion. Therefore, by paying attention to details in words, phrases, sentences, discourse can help you to find specific information or finding the main idea or finding the examples. And ultimately, by doing this analysis, you could understand the writer's motives and overall meaning or gist. And when translated into this MUET reading test, different thinking skills will be tested in different parts of the test. Your task can start from simple jobs like reading multiple texts for specific facts in part 1. And then towards the end of the test, in parts 6 and 7, you'd be asked to analyze text, content, or organization, and then to find a conclusion, just to confirm some statements given on the question. So basically, these are the skills that you need to master in order to succeed in this paper. You can always refer to your teacher for these skills. Pause this video if you want to read these notes in detail. I'd like to credit these authors as I have referred a lot to their works when creating this video. And for trained teachers or examiners, do fill in the feedback form. I've dropped a link in the description below if you have found discrepancies or errors in this video. And I really appreciate your help in clarifying any concerns raised by our candidates in the comments section below. And for candidates, it's a best practice to check the date of this video to see if it's up to date, and always refer to the MPM website for any updates on MUET.